right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, bone dry. It was the driest May in years. How farmers are surviving.
A little rain here and there, but far from everywhere. Why the general lack of rain is also adding to our afternoon air pollution problems.
But first tonight, a 10-year-old dies after shooting himself in the head.
I've seen far too many kids get a hold of a gun that they found in a nightstand drawer or in the backseat of a car.
How child abuse investigators are getting involved.
Before we get to those stories, we're following breaking news tonight after reports of a shooting in downtown St. Louis. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. You're taking a live look now at the scene at North 13th and Chestnut Street. Police arrived in the area just before 9 o'clock. They found a man who was unconscious and not breathing. The homicide unit was requested to that scene. Police were called in the same area 2 hours earlier for a shots fired call, but they didn't find anything. We'll continue to update you on this breaking news. And we continue to follow a tragic and developing story at a home in North St. Louis. A few hours ago, police say a 10-year-old boy died after shooting himself in the head.
5 on your side's Robert Townsend joins us live from Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital with the latest, plus how that hospital hopes to prevent these tragedies. Robert.
Mike and Ann, child abuse investigators are now looking into the shooting of that little boy. Meantime, this hospital is about to give away more of these gun locks, hoping that can make a big difference. There are now lots of heavy hearts on Brantner Place in the Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Jawan Shambly and other parents are saddened and upset after hearing a 10-year-old boy got his hands on a gun, shot himself in his head, and died.
It's a dangerous city, and just a lot of the gun stuff going on is with the kids, you know.
Neighbors say around 11:30 Thursday morning, the child's sister ran outside their home and screamed, "Help, my brother's been shot." Officers arrived, put the child in a police car, and rushed him to a hospital where he later died. This is the 27th child shot in St. Louis this year. 8 of those children died.
Well, all my kids live in St. Charles County because of, all the gun stuff with the kids out here,
I've seen far too many kids get a hold of a gun that they found in a nightstand drawer or in the backseat of a car.
For the past 5 years, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital has provided free gun locks to anyone who wants one. Starting Friday, gun locks will be available at SSM Health's 8 hospital emergency rooms and pediatric clinics. Friday is National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
We are hopeful that this will help prevent some of the injuries that we have seen.
Keep them, unloaded, locked up, so your kids can't get access to them.
Now, police have not told us if any adults were inside that home at the time of the shooting. Several neighbors I talked to, they told me several kids lived there. Live in South City, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Also breaking tonight, we're taking a live look now inside the Senate chamber where members of the Senate just passed 63-36, the debt limit bill. This comes just a day after the House passed the bill to avoid the U.S. from defaulting on its bills. The 99-page bill restricts spending for the next 2 years and suspends the debt ceiling into January 2025. It now goes to President Biden's desk. New developments tonight in the reorganization of the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office. 5 on your side has confirmed top prosecutor Gabe Gore is bringing in another familiar face to help lead his office.
It's a person who ran against former Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner. Our Brent Solomon is live downtown with what he's learning. Brent.
Well, the new circuit attorney is wasting no time making new hires just days after being sworn into office. This week, 4 new hires to help steer the ship here. In 5 on your side's one-on-one with Gabe Gore this week, he said it himself.
The first thing we need to address is, of course, getting the office restaffed.
He understands there's no time to waste.
We need to get our senior staff in here as quickly as possible.
Thursday, 5 on your side learned Gore's most recent hire is a familiar face. Longtime prosecutor Mary Pat Carl is coming back to the office to now lead Gore's homicide team. She worked in that office for some 14 years. In 2016 and in 2020, she ran against Kim Gardner. Gardner won both times.
You know, Mary Pat Carl did run for the office of circuit attorney, and that tells me that she is someone who cares about the city, who cares about the office, who wants to make sure that things run smoothly. So the fact that she's willing to come back and join Gabe Gore's team, I think is really, really important.
5 on Your Side's legal analyst Nanette Baker says she's glad to see Gore building his team the way he's doing it.
But he also, especially for the management team, needs people who have experience as prosecutors.
This week, we told you of a hire Gore made within hours of being sworn in. His chief trial prosecutor will be Marvin Teer. Teer held the same position under Gardner's administration, but resigned shortly before she resigned herself.
I think he has knowledge, and he has recent knowledge of what has been going on in that office. I don't really see a conflict or a going back to the old regime. In the end, Gabe Gore will be the one who is in charge.
All right, back alive now. Within the last hour, I've learned about 2 more hires just announced here. Stephen Capizzi, who served the city for 15 years prosecuting cases, will be the chief warrant officer. And Terry O'Toole, who worked with Gore in private practice, will be a senior advisor. He was an assistant circuit attorney in the late 70s. We're live tonight in downtown St. Louis. Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
Let's take a live look outside. Gorgeous view of downtown St. Louis. Temperatures are starting to cool down for the night after another hot day. Let's turn it over to our meteorologist, chief meteorologist, Scott Connell, with a look at our weather first forecast.
Well, that weather first forecast featured a couple of spot showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. That actually helped us a bit on the air quality around Metro St. Louis, bringing those numbers back down into the moderate and now even into the good category. But tomorrow, yes, it's another ozone action day. Once again on Friday. In fact, expanded to include all of the state of Illinois for tomorrow. So if you do have lung problems, or if you're older, or children, teenagers that are active, they need to limit their time outside during the mid to late afternoon, early evening hours, drive less and refuel if possible. There's a look across the region. As you see, we had those spot showers and thunderstorms pop up. This is what it looked like from Lambert this afternoon, early this evening. Most of that heavier rain ended up around the Blanchette Bridge and then into St. Charles County. It was a cool shot from Lambert. Lambert picking up only 0.8 of an inch of rain. The new drought monitor coming out this morning, obviously that's not enough rain, and it wasn't widespread enough to cause any real improvement here. The more moderate drought now slipping into the metro area, and we don't see much improvement over the next several days.
And Scott, the drought is hitting Missouri farmers hard. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski continues our coverage. Laura.
Mike, I was actually on a vegetable farm today where they had to bring in more hoses to reach plants that are trying to hold on during this brutal heat.
All right, you guys are looking good.
Farmer Tony Tomato White.
Oh man, this is brutal.
Says his fruit and vegetables could really use some rain. But for now, watering by hand will have to do in these drought conditions.
But you still have to get out here and stay on top of it because, you know, it doesn't take long, you know, for things to happen. Just right behind you over here, Lori, those tomatoes were just planted on Wednesday. And so that's the main reason I'm out here, just to make sure that they get a nice, good drink of water overnight.
White says he also uses a tarp system to keep his crops healthy.
So the tarp, if you notice, it has a white and a black side to it. You know, in the winter, you use the black side, but in the summer, I just want that sun to reflect it. Let's see here. Once it's given, you know, once we connect the water hose to it and, you know, we get everything a good drink of water, that moisture will stay in there.
But a lot of farmers say their crops are entirely at the mercy of the weather. The Missouri Department of Agriculture says it's been hard to get things planted, let alone care for what's already in the ground.
We don't have hay. Our crops are not growing. In some places, farmers have even stopped planting beans. This is part of the state, Montauk County, that area. There's a lot of farmers who haven't even finished planting their beans because it's so dry.
The Missouri Department of Natural Resources says nearly the entire state of Missouri is experiencing some level of drought. triggering a drought alert. With the new state drought mitigation plan, the government is able to act more quickly, but the weather is becoming more unpredictable every year.
Because it allows us to mobilize resources to compensate for the lack of water we have in certain regions. So yeah, it does make it harder to prepare, and so I think we need to just be more proactive in terms of managing our water when it looks like things are going in the wrong direction.
Tony Tomato says if you're growing vegetables at home, water them twice a day right now if you can, and avoid overwatering your lawn to help conserve water. Ann.
After 5 years in business, the Greek Kitchen in Kirkwood is closing its doors next month. The owners told 5 on Your Side they do not plan on renewing their lease after surviving inflation and COVID-19. The Greek Kitchen began at Cafe Kebab in Ellisville and has been in Kirkwood for the last 5 years. They're best known for their authentic dishes.
It's a really time-sensitive medication, and so we want to make sure that people can have these kits on hand so that it's there when they need them.
Making emergency contraception more accessible. The new pilot program in Missouri helping to provide morning after pills. Protecting your skin this summer. We verify which sunscreens are safest and which ingredients you should stay away from.
It's definitely a weekend to slather that sunscreen on too. And grab a water bottle as this round of heat peaks this weekend.
Today, the Senate voted to overturn President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. The Senate voted 52 to 46 to block that plan. The bill would cancel up to $10,000 in loans for those whose income falls below a certain level and $20,000 with students who received Pell Grants. The bill now heads to President Biden's desk for his signature. He is expected to veto the bill. Tonight, the Food and Drug Administration has approved a Pfizer vaccine for RSV. RSV causes mild symptoms similar to a cold for most people, but older adults face a high risk of severe cases. According to Pfizer, the vaccine was 67 to 84% effective at preventing RSV in adults 60 and older. The CDC will meet June 21st to discuss recommendations for this vaccine. Pfizer expects to have supplies ready later this year.
Tonight, there's a new program giving people free access to emergency contraception. Missouri Family Health announced it is offering everyone free access to the morning after pill. This comes just weeks before the one-year anniversary of the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. We talk with a spokesperson from the organization who says they hope to debunk certain myths about contraception.
Most notably, a lot of people right now think that emergency contraception is not legal in the state of Missouri. So we want to be really clear that birth control in all of its forms, including emergency contraception, is safe and effective and legal in the state of Missouri.
To raise awareness, the group is giving away 5,600 free pills. Usually the pills would cost up to $50. If you're interested in more information about this, you can head to our website, KSDK.com, and go to the section As Seen on TV.
Today is June 1st. That marks the beginning of Pride Month to celebrate the LGBTQIA+ community. The St. Louis area kicked the month off strong with a flag ceremony earlier today. Mayor Tashara Jones and other advocacy groups gathered at City Hall to raise the multicolored pride flag. She says this month should be full of celebration.
It's one of the most colorful months of the year because this community is beautiful, this community is vibrant, and this community is diverse, and everybody in it deserves a celebration.
County Executive Dr. Sam Page joined other St. Louis County leaders for their own flag ceremony as well. To find more Pride events happening this month, text the word PRIDE to 314-425-5355.
Well, with the days getting warmer and summer season approaching, people turn to sunscreen to protect themselves against the sun's rays. But many are concerned that some ingredients in sunscreen may cause cancer. Abby Larico from our Verify team reports.
Dermatologists and healthcare professionals have long touted sunscreen as an effective way to keep the sun's rays from causing skin damage that could ultimately become cancerous. But we've also heard concerns from people who are worried about the ingredients in the sunscreen itself.
Does sunscreen contain cancer-causing ingredients? We turn to the sources listed here to verify. In one high-profile instance, yes, by accident. In 2021, several Johnson & Johnson sunscreen products were recalled after they were found to contain traces of the carcinogen benzene, which the manufacturer says is not a sunscreen ingredient. On store shelves, you'll see two main types of sunscreen, chemical and physical. American Academy of Dermatology Association defines a chemical sunscreen as one that absorbs the sun's rays using chemicals like oxybenzone, and a physical sunscreen is one that deflects the sun rays with minerals like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. Much of the concern of sunscreen safety comes from research published in the last few years, finding the body can absorb ingredients in chemical sunscreen. Something applied topically can be found in the bloodstream days, even weeks later. Most chemical sunscreens include at least one of these common ingredients, according to the American Society of Clinical Oncology, that haven't been studied closely enough to be fully determined safe. The Environmental Working Group specifically recommends against using sunscreens containing oxybenzone, a potential hormone disruptor. However, Dr. Allison Larson explains the evidence supporting sunscreen's role in preventing cancer outweighs the known risk from absorbing chemicals.
If that's a concern, use a physical sunscreen. They simply stay as a layer outside the skin. And these are the sunscreens that used to be the very pasty white. It's totally different these days.
You can also minimize sun damage by wearing a hat and sun protective clothing and keeping out of the sun during the midday hours when its rays are strongest, and lathering on sunscreen is most important. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
That's me at the pool, just like caked in the white mineral sunscreen.
With a big hat.
It is not a good look. Let's get back to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joining us with the weather first forecast. And here and there rain, not everywhere.
Yeah, no, definitely not
enough
everywhere.
of it.
And not enough of it. Even in the spots where we saw some downpours today, we're only talking a quarter to a half an inch. And that was very much far and few between here across the area. This is the last 24 hours. You can see very much isolated rainfall across the region. Nothing left out there. This is all ground clutter around St. Louis. So the remaining little lingering showers that were just kind of drifting across the area have dissipated this evening. We would think the focus would shift now a little more farther to the west and northwest of St. Louis as we head into tomorrow. Some drier air is eventually going to be pushing in here from the Ohio River Valley. That is not the best news of all because the drought continues to expand. Moderate drought now into North St. Louis County, West St. Louis County, along the Missouri River, all of St. Charles County, up through Jersey County, and into Calhoun County. That's where the drought has expanded to, with abnormally dry conditions expanding farther east and south of St. Louis, and still quite the drought back in mid-Missouri. We need widespread rainfall. This is the growing season, time of year when you need at least an inch of rain a week to just kind of keep everything going. We haven't had that. We're not going to get it over the course of the next 7 to 10 days, it doesn't look like. 92 is our high today, 71 the low. We're at 77 right now. We'll drop to around 70 in St. Louis tonight. Outlying areas in the 60s. Our chances for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow pretty slim. It did help us out with the air quality this evening, but you do have orange air quality expected in the metro area again tomorrow, and all of Illinois now under that air quality alert. That's unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you have lung problems, asthma, you're an older adult or an active adult who spends a lot of time outside, or kids in that group as well, should limit the exposure during the afternoon and evening hours, especially if you'd be doing anything that would result in intake of a lot of air. Temperatures back into the low 90s, but you see well west of St. Louis, your Weather First Futurecast has kind of taken those scattered showers out to our west. We go into Saturday, we'll see a few clouds here and there. The thing to note here, look at our winds. They do pick up a little more Saturday. It's going to be hot, near record high temperatures on Saturday. In fact, 96 would tie the record in St. Louis. So this weekend over at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Saturday it's a Toyota 200. That's the NASCAR trucks. And then on Sunday, we're talking about the Enjoy Illinois 300. And it'll be hot on Sunday, but not as humid. And we're hopeful there's enough of a breeze this weekend where we can kind of ease the air quality concerns just a little bit, taking us into the beginning of next week. There is no real big cool down heading our way. We might get a little break along about Wednesday. It will be, though, less humid going into next week. That's good news and bad news because no humidity or lack thereof means an also general lack of rain.
Yeah, no rain. All right, Scott, thanks. Corey is in for Frank, and he's here with what's next in sports.
Well, we've got some big Cardinals news, the start of NASCAR weekend in St. Louis, and a new state champ to celebrate. Stick around, sports is up next.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Get ready to see that big smile again, St. Louis. Jordan Walker is on his way back to the big leagues. Multiple outlets, including a first report from the BND's Jeff Jones, are confirming that the rookie outfielder will join the Cardinals in Pittsburgh after just over a month at AAA. Walker will join a team in need of some outfield help. Tyler O'Neill and Dylan Carlson are on the IL, and Lars Nootbaar came out of a game earlier this week with back spasms. Of course, Walker started the season in the bigs, claiming a 13-game hit streak to begin his career. And the Cardinals have wanted the top prospect to focus on a specific aspect of his game during this time in the minors.
The biggest thing, of course, we've talked about is launch angle, getting the ball up off the ground. Jordan Walker had the highest ground ball percentage that he's had throughout his professional career, including the minor leagues and his brief stint at the major leagues. For Jordan Walker to be that impactful five-tool player, they obviously want him to hit the ball in the air more, find that home run power. Singles are great, but they can only do so much. We've seen what this Cardinals offense is capable of in terms of their depth. The front office, the coaching staff certainly figures that Jordan's bat will play right into that.
Race weekend is almost here in St. Louis, and if you were out in Granite City last night, you already saw a NASCAR star in action. That's Kyle Larson winning the Sprint Car Series race at Tri-City Speedway. Hey, the man just loves to compete. He'd love to win on Sunday for the third time this NASCAR season. Larson was here last year, finishing 12th in the Enjoy Illinois 300, and is ready to get another shot at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
I thought the event was great last year at Gateway. It was the first time for the Cup Series there, so it was obviously really big, but the racing I thought was good from what I remember. Our car, we kind of struggled, but I expect we'll be a lot better this year, so I'm excited to get back out there and see what we got.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
While a lot of folks like to start their summers with a vacation, City SC is comfortable right here at home. They'll play their third straight game at City Park on Saturday as Houston comes to town. They're going to look to keep that home hot streak going. Even though City is still without key offensive pieces like Klaus and Rasmus Alm, they have burst out over the past 2 games, outscoring their opponents 7-1. And while City may be competing with the other team on the pitch, they're always keeping their own internal goals top of mind.
I think our group likes a bit of pressure. I think we like playing under a bit of pressure.
Just because we win a game doesn't mean that the locker room's always happy the next day, and I think that that's a good thing because it means that we want more, and I think setting that kind of a high standard and pushing each other week in and week out is going to create a good thing.
We drive internal competition, so that's very important for us because we've put ourselves in this situation. How do we keep the fire burning? How do we keep the desire going, right? So the minute we get too comfortable and complacent, that's never a good thing.
John Burroughs playing for a Class 4 state baseball title tonight against Springfield Catholic. The Bombers haven't lost a game in Missouri all year, and they got out to a great start tonight. Griffin Barnett drives in a run. Burroughs scored 6 in the first inning. Later on, Ahmad Muhammad puts a jolt into that one. That would score another early run, and the Bombers are going to cap off their dominant season with a state crown. They win 9-4 over Springfield Catholic. Congrats to the state champ, John Burroughs. News out of the SEC today. Starting in 2024, football schedules will look a bit different. Once Texas and Oklahoma join the league next year, the league will play 8 conference games and at least 1 game against another Power 5 opponent. Also, the divisions are going away. The SEC championship game will feature the 2 top teams in the conference at the end of the season. Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight, and that man, Nikola Jokic, is the current king of basketball. He had his way with the Heat tonight in Denver. That rebound clinched his triple-double. His 14 assists tonight are the most by a center in a Finals game ever. Mizzou's Michael Porter Jr. had a double-double. Nuggets win Game 1, 104-93. And I know St. Louis does not like to hear it, but we got to get used to the reality that Stan Kroenke's probably going to lift another trophy because Denver looked unstoppable.
Looks that way, yeah.
I'm glad Frank isn't here today.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Corey, thank you. A tasty victory is within reach. How you can help a popular St. Louis ice cream shop get the label Best in the Country.
Clementine's Ice Cream is being nominated by USA Today as the best ice cream shop in the country. You can help honor St. Louis and get Clementine's to #1 by voting once a day through June 26th. To vote, visit the story on our website under the As Seen on TV section.
The Go St. Louis Marathon is getting a new name. Starting in 2024, the marathon will be called the Greater St. Louis Marathon. As a result is the partnership between Go St. Louis and Greater St. Louis Incorporated. And there will be a new course that will finish at City Park Stadium with post-event festivities planned.
Today was the first day of the St. Louis County Library's Summer Reading Club. It allows people who register to get a free book and other prizes. Readers can collect virtual badges for reading, attending library events, and more. It runs through August 5th.
And Scott has one final check of the weather for us.
Well, we're pretty quiet here tonight as we head into tomorrow. We're heating up once again, but the chances of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, it looks like the better chances will be to our west. Our only problem tomorrow in most areas will be the afternoon air quality going back into that orange, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups category, and that should happen during the afternoon and evening hours. Quiet right now in the 70s, 60s to around 70 heading out the door tomorrow. In the 90s the next several afternoons, and again, rain chances negligible this weekend into early next week.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
His guests tonight include Pedro Pascal, Catherine Newton, and Armani White. Have a great night.